Shalom, shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahwashai, Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, pushing this 100% truth of the gospel, waking up and sealing the elect of the nation of Israel through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahwashai. And salutation to all your sincere Achiman that are pushing this gospel in all righteousness and in all sincerity, risking your lives and your freedom to do so. This is your brother Abawan once again. I know just going through the Translation Christian's commentary on Daniel the second chapter. Alright, it's the precepts going into let me just get some precepts. Let me just get it. It's going into the statue, okay, the great image that Nebuchadnezzar saw in his dream. And basically the part that I actually wanted to get is the 31st to the 45th chapter, right, which is going into the interpretation of what the interpretation of his vision, the interpretation of that dream. Okay, so the main point I actually wanted to go into is, okay, this is Daniel chapter 4. So okay, yeah, it is Daniel chapter 2. The main point I actually wanted to go into is that 45th chapter. Okay, going into the feet of it, because going back to the story, it had a head of gold, okay, a chest, a breastplate or a chest and arms of silver. The waist, or the waist of it was made out of brass. The feet, the feet, that is the laps all the way to the ankle, was made out of um iron, and the feet of it, okay, that is the feet and the toes are made out of iron and clay. Okay, I already know the breakdown concerning all of concerning what exactly it is. So I wanted to go into plantation Christianity to see if Esau had the exact same breakdown downs, because I wanted to see whether Esau actually admits that we're living in the times of in the latter days, the time of these 10 toes, which will basically be the same as admitting that this kingdom is about to be, which will basically in being directly admitting that this kingdom is about to be destroyed by the Most High and His Son. Okay, because that he doesn't Esau, not Esau, plantation Christianity, okay, Christianity as a whole, they don't really go into prophecies. So I wanted to see how much of this prophecy in the book of Daniel chapter 2 that they got right, because I remember the apostle talking about it in one of his during this the sit down during them the sit down count that they had this week. So I wanted to go into it to see what Esau would say about it. Okay, so this is the book of Daniel chapter, alright, so Daniel chapter 2, and I'll start from verse 4. Daniel chapter 2, and I'll start from verse 40. And it reads, "And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken." Okay, so now this is the commentary. And after I did was I went to go and look for the most accurate, alright, commentary, as accurate as these Christians can get, because yeah, how it is with these Christians, you'll be seeing a lot of things that make no sense, and you're wondering where they got this information from. But of course, they have, but of course, in this exact prophecy, they have, a decent breakdown, but it's still have to separate, but they still put a few bones in there to confuse the people that are reading it. Okay, so this is, let me just go into it. Okay, the commentary on Daniel the second chapter, the 31st verse to the 45th verse, and it reads, "This image represented the kingdoms of the earth that should successively rule the nations and influence the affairs of the Jewish church." And of course, that when they speak of Jewish church, they're actually speaking of the Israelites, okay? Because what the Israelites said, captivity in all four nations, okay? Whether it was the Babylon, the Assyrian Babylonian kingdom, okay? Whether it was the Medo-Persian kingdom, the Greek kingdom, the Roman kingdom, and now in the last days that we're in right now, the last legs of the Roman Empire, we are still serving captivity under all these people. But as the scripture says, that's the book of Lamentations right there, okay? That the time of our captivity has been accomplished, and what we're waiting for now is for the for the final prophecy to be fulfilled concerning all these kingdoms, because right now, okay, we are in the toes, okay, we are in the toes of this great image. All right, and what all that is ready now is for that great millstone, okay. So I cannot not great millstone, but that mighty the uncut stone, that is our Lord Yahweh Shai, to break this image, in pieces, and to establish what that mountain. No, let me get that let me get the preset instead of speaking about it, okay. So this is it right here, Daniel 2 verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Right, so that is the interpretation right there. Okay, so and that's another thing that I want to see whether these Christians would admit. I want to see whether they will admit that the kingdom that is coming next is the kingdom of Yahweh Shai. And they have to ask, and then they will have to ask, who is Yahweh Shai going to give that kingdom to, if it's not going to be left to other people, okay? And the other people being what, these other nations that have ruled, in these these other nations that have ruled in these four. Yes, because there have actually only been four kingdoms, even though the body was divided into five. Two of those kingdoms are of this, are the same, which is basically the Roman Empire, because we're in the continuation of this Roman Empire. And this, the toes, okay, the 10 toes, the toes that are partly iron and partly clay, are a continuation of, or rather, the revised Roman Empire. Okay, going into the book of Revelation chapter 19, a good precept to prove that, where it talks about how the beast, which is what, that dragon, that red dragon with 10 heads, it's like, not 10 heads, I believe it was 7 heads and 10 horns. That great dragon, that great beast was subdued, okay, and he was put into a bottomless pit, and left and he was put into a bottomless pit and trapped there, so that he could not deceive nations for 1,000 years, and that to be released to run wild for a little season and to deceive nations once again, which that's what he's speaking about, okay, because what we know that this is the revised Roman Empire. It is a continuation of the Roman Empire, because it has adopted all the ways of the Roman Empire, like for example the Senate, okay. If you go into, I believe that is the book of either, there's the book of Maccabees, talks about how the Romans used a Senate and how they voted in, and how it was the Senate that voted in their leaders, okay, and the leaders had a certain amount of time to rule before they got taken out and replaced again with another one. Basically, politics and democracy all developed in Rome. Okay, this current modern system that are using, most of, alright, the most of what we use, most of the philosophies, yeah, I mean that's what I should use, okay. The philosophies and the doctrines that we teach, that you use, even this whole Christianity, it all originated in Rome, okay. It all goes back to Rome, and there are so many people, okay, not just us in the Hebrew Israelite community, Christians, atheists, whatever name you want to use. There's so many people that know about the connection between the ancient the ancient Rome and this modern day Roman Empire, because the people that were ruling during the time of the Romans are the same people that are ruling today, the children of Esau, Edom, okay. And that's connection has already been made, by so many other people. Right, so going back to the commentary. So the first one, the head of gold signified the Chaldean Empire, then in being. The breast and arms of silver signified the empire of the Medes and Persians. The belly and thighs of brass signified the Grecian Empire founded by Alexander. The legs and feet of iron signified the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire branched into 10 kingdoms as the toes of those feet. Some were weak as clay, another as strong as iron. Endeavors have often been used to unite them for strengthening the empire, but in vain. I know that's where it goes off a little bit, because those 10 toes I speaking about, the feet of iron and clay, actually speaking about this modern day revised Roman Empire. It's speaking about your NATO and the EU. Okay, speaking about as I said, speaking about NATO and the EU, you have some kingdoms, you have some of these kingdoms that It's currently ruling that is currently ruling over. You have some of them that are strong and some that are weak. Okay, but not all of these nations are actually all that all that powerful. They're not all super. These all the nations. They're not all superpowers. Okay, in other words, they don't all have strength. And that's why you have the things like the EU. That's why you have things like the EU to support all the other to support the weaker nations in these 10 tools. You're just basically trying to join all the nations together so that what the beast can be stronger. But you see that these nations are actually meant to be divided because it speaks about these things in the prophecy. If you go back to the book of Daniel 2, it tells you that what that some part that there will be a division in the in the kingdom of the 10 tools, of the feet of it. Some will be the kingdom will be partly strong and the kingdom will be partly weak, and this is what he's speaking about. Okay, you have superpowers like Babylon. You have superpowers like Great Britain that will be that will be strong and be able to subdue everything, like as iron as iron subdues. And then you have kingdoms of clay that will be easily conquered and easily that can easily be conquered. Like for example, the Greek the Greece, like for example that as an example, the countries like Greece. Okay, weak European nations that can easily that don't have any military might or even strong economies, and Greece will be the prime example because it's one of the poorest countries in Europe. All right, so you see that so you see the disparity in this kingdom. Okay, that some parts of it are powerful, strong, economically, military, everything, but then some parts are actually just weak. That cannot hold their own. That need support. That need welfare. And another example would be Israel. Now you comes to mind when you think about the welfare nation, you think about Israel. You see that these condition the that's I should say Israel, I should say the Israelis. Okay, because there's actually a difference between the people that are currently in the Holy Land right now. Those Amalekites and the actual people of the Holy Bible. The actual Israelites according to the scriptures. So this is the disparity. So this is the division in the kingdom. Okay, you have once again, to the last thing, you have nations that are all powerful, that are superpowers, and you have nations that are, using the basically hiding behind those powers and using the authority of those powers to do as they like. Like for example, the Israelis with Babylon. Okay, the authority of Babylon. And for another example would be during the time of its inception, America Babylon was using the pull and the sway of the British Empire to do to do whatever to do whatever it pleased at that time. Okay, so continue with this article. They just need to get the last part. Okay, and let me just start from the fourth. The number four again. The legs and feet of iron was signified the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire branched into 10 kingdoms as the toes of these feet. Some are weak as clay, others are strong as iron. Endeavors have often been used to unite them for strengthening the empire, but in vain. The stone cut out without hands represent the kingdom of our Lord Yahushua Hamashiach, which should be set up in the kingdoms of this world upon the ruins of Satan's kingdoms upon the ruins of Satan's kingdom in them. This was the stone which the builders refused because it was not cut out by their hands. And that's basically that's what I wanted to get, because they understand that, alright, Yahweh is the next, is the next ruler. Okay, they understand that the Yahweh is the one that is going to be in rulership after. Alright, these 10 tools are destroyed, and it will be Yahushua who will destroy the 10 tools. Okay, so I wanted to get another commentary because this one did not really go into which kingdoms will be really this one did not really talk about they don't really talk about this the kingdom that we're currently living in right now, this rulership that we're currently living in right now. Okay, so I have to go into the next. That's find another article. Basically, what I typed in, what does the iron and clay fit? Who does the iron and clay fit in the book of Daniel chapter 2 represent? And this is an article that I got was something a little bit closer, but it still went off heavy. So I'm just going to read it a little bit again once again. Let me just where do I start? Okay. Let's start from the top. Okay, the iron and clay feet and the four-headed leopard of Daniel's prophecies. The Daniel see modern Europe. You may think that there are no pictures in the Bible, but actually, the Most High uses pictures again and again. He often gave men and women dreams and visions that were meant to reveal hidden and future things. Many of the prophets described motion pictures of animals, unique creatures, and other miscellaneous video clips that were supernatural previews of major events that would occur far into the future. This is where we come in. The ancient pictures were meant for us today. We are now in the days, we are now living in the days toward which those picture previews pointed. By knowing and understanding these pictures, it becomes possible for us to know exactly what time it is on God's calendar and clock that will be taking place in the very near future. It is said that one picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay, let me just jump down a little bit. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so going into the analysis of the pictures. Okay, picture one. The first picture is of iron and clay feet. These feet appeared on a great statue in King Nebuchadnezzar's dream. The statue depicted successive world kingdoms: the gold head representing the Babylonian Empire, the silver chest, the Medo-Persian Empire, the brass thighs, the Grecian Empire, and the iron legs, the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire collapsed around 300 AD. Alright, which is basically when the normal pagan Roman Empire collapsed, and the continuation of that was the Holy Roman Empire, which was ruled by Jake. Okay, going from the Roman Empire into the Dark Ages, which was ruled by Jake up until the Renaissance, which is the Renaissance is roughly, I believe, it actually started in the 15th century, but it didn't kick off until I believe that was what I can't remember the exact date anymore. I believe yeah, but it started it kicked off during the 15th century anyway. Yeah, the mid 15th century. All right, so that was continuing. The Roman Empire, as I was saying, the Roman Empire collapsed around 300 AD, and the next and last world empire before Yahushua Hamashiach returns was illustrated by iron and clay feet. Notice that Europe appears three times in Daniel's statue. Okay, this is speaking about the Grecian, the Roman, and the Grecian, the Roman, and the Holy Roman Empire. And first, Europe appears in the east as brass ties of Greece. Alexander the Great catapulted Greece to its zenith with his epic conquests. Okay, and what this is that Alexander is not an actual Alexander is not a Grecian but an Edomite, but he was a but he had rule. He ruled over Greece, as the scripture says. That is the book of First Maccabees, that he was the first to reign over. Then he was the first of his seed. No, let me get that. Let me get that. That's the apocrypha. That's First Maccabees, chapter 1, I believe. Here it is. Here it is. First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Okay, showing you that Alexander's people had not ruled over Greece until this time, because Greece was already an established nation. It was a nation of the Japhet, or the Sakya, and the Japhites. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. The Japhites. And Alexander the Greek, Alexander the Macedonian was not a Japhite. Okay, he was an Edomite that had taken over that land and taken over that people of Greece and started to reign over them. Alright. That is how he had done, all throughout in the generations. He took over the Greeks, the Romans, and even the Europeans, all Japhites, and took over their kingdoms and took their names onto themselves. Okay, and that's how he deceived the nations by making everybody believe that he was Japhet, but in all actuality, he's Esau. Okay, because if you go back to the lineage of Alexander the Great, if you go back to the lineage of the Romans, they are Edomites. Alright, so continuing on. Alright, continue on. The second, Europe is seen as iron legs of the Roman Empire under the Almighty Caesars. Thirdly, Europe appears as iron and clay feet. Okay, and it goes into the precepts concerning the iron and clay feet. The stone struck and destroyed the iron and clay feet. What do the iron and clay feet represent? An empire with a dual nation, iron and clay. And this is just something that you see the commentary is going to a lot. Politics and religion, state and church, European and Roman Catholic Church. The politics of the defunct Roman Empire revived by a symbiotic relationship with the Roman Catholic Church. What would we assume that the clay in this image symbolizes? The Roman Catholic Church? There are several reasons, okay, and it's just going into something else. This is just going into something else, because what they were actually speaking about was they were trying to show that they were trying to uh, what it was actually speaking about, it went into something completely different, okay. But this is what you see with Esau. They don't want to admit that the last empire, okay, the empire with the empire of the clay and iron, the feet of this Greek statue. They don't want to admit that this is that we are currently living in that rulership right now. That it's NATO and the EU. Okay, it is this kingdom that is being ruled by the so-called white, like so-called red, this so-called red. They call themselves so-called white, but they're actually these red Edomites, and Lord Yahweh is getting ready to destroy this kingdom. It's ready to completely destroy it. So let me go back to the book of Daniel chapter 2. So okay. And let me just read that part again. Here it is. Daniel chapter 2, verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Alright, that's what is going to that's what gets ready to happen, because right now what you have is that these kings, the kings of the other kingdoms, the Babylonians, the Medes, the Persians, even the ancient Greeks, and the Romans, which are the Edomites. The ancient Greeks being the dark-skinned Etruscans, which will be the Hawaiians today, because they still have those relics in their culture. Alright, but basically, what I'm trying to say is that these kingdoms, they still exist today, and they still rule on a certain level alongside Esau, Edom, okay, while you Israelites are, as usual, as per usual, at the bottom. But Lord Yahweh is coming back, to basically destroy this kingdom and deliver us from their hand, okay. Because if you go into the precepts like Wisdom of Solomon, that I believe that is Wisdom chapter 12, where it talks about how I'll have to get that, but you go into Isaiah 63, it talks about how he's bringing a great destruction in Edom. Jumping down to this from the 7th verse, talks about what it is, the year of our, it is the time of the redeemed, meaning who us, the Israelites, which are going to be saved. Because even the precept scriptures tell you, and that's the book of Wisdom of Solomon 12 right there, that the same way that he's coming to destroy the wicked, the same way that he will come to deliver the righteous. And let me see if I can quickly get that. Alright, so that precept right there. Let me know so I won't forget it that easily. Alright, Wisdom 12, I read that 10th chapter. It's like a wrong precept. It's like a wrong precept. Okay, it is Wisdom of Solomon 11, and I'll start from verse. I'll start from verse 5. Okay, Wisdom of Solomon 11, verse 5. For by what things their enemies were punished, by the same they in their need were benefited. That's basically that's basically it, okay. What he's speaking about is that the chariot, because we know how our people are going to be delivered via the chariots, and those chariots are going to be bringing destruction as well as salvation, okay. But we are the hopeful elect, okay. We already know that if we keep our if we keep this faith up until the end, we will be delivered, okay. We will be saved by Yahweh Hashem, while everybody else, the unbelievers will die and be destroyed and be judged right along with this current kingdom, right along with, and they'll be broken to pieces, okay, broken to shaft, right along with these 10 toes. And and guess what? They're not going to be able to, these kingdoms are not going to rise again, okay? So who is this, is this new kingdom that is coming that will rule forever and ever? And the scriptures even tell you about that. And it's about the saints of the Most High will inherit this kingdom, and it's the same book of Daniel. Alright, so this is the book of Daniel chapter 7. With the Daniel chapter 7 that goes into the four beasts. Alright, so the book of Daniel 7 verse 18, and it reads, "But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever." Alright, that's basically it. And we already know who the saints are. The saints are the Israelites, okay? The saints are the saints are the Israelites, the seed of Jacob. And it's something that you never hear in these Christian churches, man, because they tell you that what all people will be in relationship with Yahweh Shai. All people will be, all people can be saved. That in the kingdom that is going to come, all the saints, all the nations will be in relationship with Yahweh Shai. But that's not actually the case, because Lord Yahweh Shai is coming back with only one specific group of people to it's going back to save only one specific group of people. It's coming back with one specific group of people in mind. That is the Hebrew Israelites, okay, specifically the elect of the nation of Israel. Right, nobody else, because that is the only people that can receive salvation. And that's not what I'm going into right now. I just wanted to bring out these the breakdowns that Esau has concerning the book of Daniel, the book of Daniel, the second chapter, which is of course for the for the, up until the most important part, which would be the last leg of that great beast. They got everything else right, but because of his pride, they would kind of admit that that they would create a kingdom that will be destroyed by Yahweh Shai. So of course they always try to dodge that the most important prophecy, to dance around it, which is basically what that the feet of iron and clay is this current this current kingdom we are living in with NATO and the EU. All right. So then I'm just going to end it there. Let's give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh, and through the spirit of you, Akim, you Akwat were edified. Shalom. Oh yeah, Wa Abad Babal, Shalom.